Hi, everyone. Judge Andrew Napolitano here for Judging Freedom. Today is Friday, October 10th, 2025. It's the end of the day, the end of the week. It's our favorite show of the 20 we have produced this week, the Intelligence Community Roundtable with Ray McGovern and Larry Johnson. Of course, Ray and Larry are two of those 20 already in their usual and happy Monday morning slots. Gentlemen, my dear friends and colleagues, welcome here, welcome back. Thank you for the double duty. Before we get to the Trump, Witkoff, Kushner, Tony Blair, Gaza agreement, Ray, you have some interesting inside information, I think, about the Nobel Peace Prize, which was awarded at 5 o'clock this morning, Eastern Time.
Yes, our president was very, very miffed, of course. And so I looked up, actually, I contacted an old Venezuelan diplomat, a very senior one. He was chargé d'affaires. And he said, look, Ray, and I'll read this because it's precious. This Maria Corina Machado, she's been a puppet of the various intelligence agencies for many years, if not decades. The committee wanted to give the prize initially to an NGO in Sudan, but then they got afraid of how Trump might react. And so they decided to, by giving a prize to such a pro-US person who is just really rabidly in favor of US warships off Venezuela, for example, they would give them some sort of protection so that it was impossible to give it to Trump himself. Let's give it to one of his proxies in Venezuela. This is the cat's meow, so to speak. The guy knows what he's talking about. That was the backstory. Isn't it amazing that the Nobel Peace Prize Committee would feel so afraid of Trump, how he might react if it was given to somebody legitimate? So they gave it to somebody illegitimate. I'm not calling her a bastard. I'm just saying that she's illegitimate in terms of the terms of the Nobel Peace Prize.
So the Nobel Peace Prize is an act of corruption. I mean, Barack Obama got it because he wasn't George W. Bush.
That's right. Henry Kissinger got it because he didn't kill too many people, just a couple million, So it's been kind of watered down. It's too bad. It's sort of like the Pulitzer. I mean, New York Times, Washington Post got Pulitzers for promoting the Russiagate fairy tale, and there's money comes with that. I wonder if Pulitzer Committee is just like a Nobel Committee. They're not going to ask for their money back. I wish they would.
Well, Larry, I wonder if the committee was worried that Trump in his anger would treat them the way he treats speedboats in the Caribbean.
Oh, no, listen, I think Trump was privately pleased because when she was interviewed by an Israeli journalist, her first thing she's going to do if she gets the chance to lead Venezuela is move Venezuela's embassy to Jerusalem. By God, she's going to be Miss Zionist all the way. I'm not making this up.
Well, if she's a CIA asset, she's probably also a Mossad asset.
Well, she wouldn't be the first Venezuelan to have been and Venezuelan president to have been a CIA asset. Carlos Andres Perez, Cap, back in the 80s, he was one. The CIA pays pretty good. It's a nice way to boost one's retirement account.
Well, I didn't think we were going to go here, but Ray told me of his communication with this fellow, and I found it fascinating, as well as the not surprising, childish reaction of the president. Now, Chris,
and Judge, you're not far off. You're not far off in mentioning Mossad, because this woman is known to have extended connections with the Mossad, with the Israelis, to help her with Trump, to help her with the righteous in Venezuela. So when you say Mossad, it's almost always true. When these things happen, these guys, these opponents of Maduro in this case, they're normally uh, extending their ties to Mossad as well as to the CIA. It's sort of the same thing.
And that must mean, Larry, that MI6 is involved, right?
Oh yeah. Hey, listen, one big happy family. Where you find one, you find them all.
Well, Chris is such a great researcher. While we're talking about this, he has President Putin talking about the Nobel Peace Prize earlier today. Chris?
There have been cases when the committee awarded the Nobel Peace Prize to people who did nothing for peace. And in my opinion, with these decisions, they have caused enormous damage to the prestige of this prize. A person comes in, good or bad, and right away, a month or two later, boom, they get it. For what? They haven't done anything at all. Well, that's how it works, but you need to have some achievements for it. And that's why I think its prestige has been largely lost. But whatever, it's not for me to judge. Whether or not the current US president deserves the Berlin Prize, I don't know. But he really is doing a considerable amount to truly try and resolve such incredibly complex issues and situations. Years-long or even decades-long crises. I've already said this for sure. I know regarding the crisis in Ukraine, he is genuinely striving for this. Some things have worked out, some things haven't. Maybe we'll still be able to accomplish a great deal based on the various agreements and the extensive discussions that took place at Vancourage.
There you have it, Professor McGovern. The conversations in Anchorage may actually have begun, something that the public is unaware of, and President Putin tipped his hand about it today.
Yeah, I would emphasize the kid gloves treatment. I mean, Putin could have said more accurately, God, Trump doesn't deserve a damn thing, much less the Nobel Peace Prize. Well, no. The approach is to cajole him, to appease him, to make sure that they don't knock him off. He's not well, okay? He's not okay. Witness his reaction when he learned that he wasn't the guy to get the Nobel Peace Prize. All I'm saying here is that Russians are the most unaccustomed way, and I've been around for a while. Every chance they get, they give this silk stocking kind of treatment. And it was not only Putin, it was Ushakov yesterday,
Right?
and it was Peskov today saying, hey, Ryabkov, what do you say, that Alaska was exhausted? No, he's wrong about that. That wasn't it. So in other words, Ryabkov apparently spoke out of turn. He's been chastised publicly now. I wonder if he will be the successor for Lavrov eventually. Anyhow, what matters is the kid gloves treatment that they're, and if I were Putin, I would be doing the same thing. Look how childishly, one little thing here. I have lots of teenage granddaughters, okay? One of them, let's call her Maria, okay? She's an incredible actress. She's an incredible singer. And she was vying for the major part in Jesus Christ Superstar. And she didn't get it. 16 years old. And she said to me, Granddad, the lady that got it, the girl that got it is really better than me in acting. So I don't mind. I'm gonna be gonna be in the troupe there. But there's a 16-year-old. Trump is acting like a 12-year-old or maybe a 9-year-old, and this is not funny. It's funny, but my God. My brother said, hey, Ray, remind people why you always said back in 2016 that the Russians would not prefer to have Trump, would not prefer to have somebody of his temperament with his fingers on the nuclear codes. And that holds today. So they're treating him with kid gloves.
I'm going to guess that your granddaughter was raised in a more traditional and respectable way than the current president of the United States. Ray, Larry and I are going to be in Russia in 3 days, and we will learn how the Russians feel about the Tomahawks. But I got to tell you, I was on with our friend Dimitri Simes yesterday, and boy, the first questions were about how concerned they are. Larry, I think we're going to find out the Russians
Yeah.
are very concerned about Tomahawks, and they're concerned about German armaments as well.
Yeah. Well, Putin's he's been very he's not excited. He doesn't get emotional about it, but he's been very straightforward. He says, "Look, if they do this, it's going to dramatically change the relationship. It's going to worsen the relationship, not make it better. But we've got the air defense systems we need to handle it, and we think we're capable of handling it." So he doesn't. He doesn't get vent his anger publicly. Maybe privately he's angry about it, but again, this is just another one of those Wunderwaffen, the wonder weapons. The report is that the United States has sold the Tomahawks to Norway, and Norway will be the one passing them on to Ukraine. But even then, at that point, the ones who are going to fire it, it'll be NATO personnel or U.S. personnel still, because the Ukrainians are incapable of firing them off on their own. And then it raises the real issue of although they're not currently configured for nuclear warheads, they could be. And the Russians can't discount that and pretend, oh, well, they'll never do that. That's just not how military planning operates.
Judge, let me just interject here that Scott Ritter and I have been exchanging messages all week on this, Larry too. We've come to the conclusion this is a canard. It's a red herring. There ain't never going to be any Tomahawks given to Ukraine or to Norway or to.
Oh boy, I hope that is true. I hope that's accurate.
And this is theater. I mean, Dmitry Signs is a smart guy as hell, but he runs a show and he's doing theater here. Now, this is a big issue, and they're making a big deal of it, but they know.
Let me ask you this. How will President Putin react, in your opinion, if the Germans begin developing and building long-range missiles at the same time that crackpot Ursula von der Leyen steals 165 billion in Russian state assets in European banks? How does Putin react to that?
The money doesn't make weapons. It takes a long time to make these weapons. By the time any of these weapons come to maturity, so to speak, the war will be over. So it's a big, what they call a Sturm im Wasserglas. They call that in Germany. It's a storm in a little water glass, and it makes good theater, but it's not going to happen. And Scott and I were on a show just yesterday in which Scott spelled out all the parameters, all the things that would be necessary. What Scott said is, look, every fall, I have said I'm going to train like hell all winter, and I'm going to climb Everest in May, okay? But it never happens because all the things I would have to do between then and May never happen. That's the way it is with the Tomahawks to Ukraine, presumably. And it's never going to happen because too many things have to happen. The earliest it could happen would be 3 years from now. Forget about it. Relax. This is a red herring, and Lavrov was right when he said this is something to give to the Europeans, to let them chew on and make believe that they still have some support from the United States. It's a red herring.
A fair and very rational argument. Larry, I'm going to ask you in a moment if the Trump, Witkoff, Jared Kushner, Tony Blair Gaza deal is for real. But before we do, here is President Trump earlier today being asked if he can guarantee Israel won't bomb again. You can guess how he answers, but here's the answer. Cut number one.
What guarantees Hamas disarms and that Israel doesn't resume bombing once the hostages are released?
The first thing we're doing is getting our hostages back, okay? And that's what people wanted more than anything else. They wanted these hostages back that have lived in hell like nobody has ever even dreamt possible. And after that, we'll see. But they've agreed to things, and I think it's going to move along pretty well.
Question, Larry?
Well, the deal's a fraud. And let's be clear about that. And it's a fraud for this reason. It does not guarantee the rights of the Palestinian people, because just this morning, Jewish Zionist settlers were attacking and taking the property of Palestinians in the West Bank. Yeah, they're not in Gaza, but the point of this is this isn't just about getting hostages back. We've been through this kabuki dance before. We did it in remember in January 15th. Oh, Trump's coming in. He's got a ceasefire, and there were some hostage exchanges, and that went on for about a month and a half. And then in March, the Zionists started bombing the hell out of the Palestinians again. So here we are. I'm pretty sure they'll go ahead. They'll get the hostages released. They'll get the Palestinian hostages as well as the Israeli hostages. But it's not going to turn off the hatred that the Zionists have for the Palestinians. It's not going to put an end to the Zionist project of genocide against the Palestinians. That will continue because this, we got phase one. This was phase one. That's what happened in January. Phase one. Never got the phase two. And I don't think this is going to phase two, even if let's say they do get the phase two. Hamas is not going to disarm. That's number one. And Bibi Netanyahu is not going to accept a two-state solution. That's number two. So I don't see how you reconcile those two.
Ray, is
There
this,
were,
is this a fraud? Bibi will resume bombing as soon as the hostages are set free, as Trump calls them, our hostages.
Yeah, well, I think Larry is right. I mean, if we didn't have the example of just earlier this year, well, people were saying, "Oh, wait a second now. This one Trump signed on to, so Netanyahu's not going to fool around with that." Well, of course he did. So I fully accept what Larry is projecting. There's one little thing that happened this morning. If memory serves, Marwan Garbucci, what's his name?
Barghouti.
Yeah, Barghouti. He's been in prison in Israel for decades. Okay, he's sure to be the next Palestinian prime minister if there's any democracy at all in the choosing process. He was on the list that Witkoff signed off on. Oh, but he's not on the Netanyahu list. What does that mean? Well, there's a little bit of cheating right there. The more important issue here is, well, is there any truth to the notion that the pressure, the timing pressure that Trump exerted, all had to do with his hope that he could get this side and get the Nobel Prize Committee to give him the prize rather than somebody else? Now, if there's any truth to that, and a week ago I couldn't understand that, but I give that some credence. Then what does that mean then? Okay, he didn't get it. What's he gonna do now? Not much. Netanyahu is running the ship. I hate to say it, but Trump is a creature of Netanyahu in these matters, and God help us if Netanyahu decides to go after Iran.
Larry, who in their right mind would trust Netanyahu or Donald Trump, the very human beings that negotiated with Witkoff and Tony Blair and Jared Kushner in Cairo? The Israelis attempted to murder when they were in Doha, the very same people.
Yeah, well, that's why I think the assurances, we don't have a full list, but the assurances that are being provided by Arab and Muslim nations, I think finally persuaded the Palestinians. That is the one big difference between what this agreement today and what took place on January 15th. You didn't have as much buy-in by the various Arab and Islamic countries. And this on top of it, you have had Putin weigh in and say, yeah, listen, we think it's a step in the right direction. But there does need to be two-state. It is a two-state solution at the end. So he's been pretty firm about that.
Let me just interrupt you. How could Netanyahu unilaterally change the agreement? We all know that, and I don't have the name pronunciation correctly either, Barghouti was number one on the list. He's been in an Israeli prison for 20 years. How can they take him off the list?
Because when he goes over the press release that the press secretary is going to put out, takes his name off. I'll get that one off there. Very easy, and it doesn't pay any consequence for it. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Still up to this point, Donald Trump is still completely owned and operated by these Zionists. The problem they have, right now is the public opinion within the United States has shifted dramatically from October 7th of 2023 to now. I saw there was a CNN piece just yesterday at which, right after that October 7th attack, they had favorability for Israel at like plus 48, above 50%. It was all like 98%. Today, it's +1 for the Palestinians. So it means there has been a complete erosion in the Zionist position within the United States, an elevation and increased attention paid to the Palestinians, which is in part the Netanyahu and his crowd. I think they can read the polls, and they do understand that they have to do some cosmetic things in order to try to staunch that bleeding.
Ray, has Netanyahu ever complied with a ceasefire in the past? This is a ridiculous question, and we know the answer.
Well, you're asking me because I'm the oldest guy around. And the answer is still no.
You have the best
No.
memory. Everybody knows that the answer is no. That's why I don't get the media. You guys know I work in the media as well as doing this. I don't get the media jubilation over this.
Yeah. No, it was God, the champagne corks popping and the celebration, and oh my God, this proved that Donald Trump, man, what an accomplishment. And it's like, don't you people read or understand history? I guess the answer to that is no. We've been through this charade many times before, but the clearest indication for me this morning was, oh yeah, they're starting to withdraw from Gaza, but those troops are heading into the West Bank and they're standing by while these rabid settlers attack Palestinian farmers, take their land, burn their olive trees, destroy their homes. And that's taking place today. So it's just this desire to purge the land of the Palestinians. There is no intent at all on the part of Bibi Netanyahu and that Zionist crowd to do that. And until the world is, the world in some aspects is just deluding itself about this.
Ray, I don't know where it goes next, but
Well, I think the thing that bothers me most, Judge, is that, as I said before, Trump is not okay. And if the performance before the UN, where it went on for over an hour about petty politics in the US, if the performance before those generals in Quantico was not enough, watch the first 40 minutes, mind you, 40 minutes of the cabinet meeting just yesterday or the day before.
oh, it's unwatchable, Ray.
My God, it's all about Trump. And actually, he didn't ad lib it. He had somebody write down all this noxious stuff, and everybody turned around. And then he said, "Okay, now we don't have a lot more time. Anybody else want to see?" Now, cabinet meetings are for cabinet officers to report to the president what's going on, right?
All right,
It was all effusive. It was adulatory. It was fawning by each and every one of them. Oh, you did a great job and all this stuff. Now, maybe he needs that. And, Putin seems willing to play along and not alienate him. But my God, where does that lead? Where does that lead?
All right, I have to run this now. I wasn't going to go there. This is Robert Francis Kennedy Jr. at the cabinet meeting suggesting that autism is caused by, Larry, you ready for this? Circumcision. Chris?
Oh, no.
There's 2 studies that show children who are circumcised early have double the rate of autism. It's highly likely because they're given Tylenol. So, none of this is this positive, but all of it is stuff that we should be paying attention to.
Yeah.
But, there's a tremendous amount of proof or evidence, I would say, as a non-doctor, but I've studied this a long time.
I'm sure he studied it well.
I'm not a doctor, but I've really studied it. Give me a break. I was circumcised 86 years ago. So far, so good.
Yeah, well, actually, I think to be fair to RFK, what he was talking about, not so much the fact that a bris is performed, but the fact that there is a drug given to the child as part of that procedure. I think that's where he was going with it.
It was, but we couldn't resist playing.
I know.
It's
We
so.
had
Thanks, Larry. In all fairness, thanks.
This is not exactly George Washington with Alexander Hamilton and Thomas Jefferson in his cabinet. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, no, but Cy Hirsch came out with an article this week in the Substack that and he was doing some mea culpas that he didn't write this kind of piece when Joe Biden was in clear mental.
What did he say in his piece?
Well, what he said was basically he's hearing from people around Trump that Trump's slipping. Trump is not what he used to be, which tracks with people I know that have been around Trump. That he's lost his ability really to read the room, and somebody should pull a comparison of how Trump talked off the cuff 6-7 years ago with this monotone, like Dustin Hoffman in Rain Man. It's just there's no deviation, no inflection, and some of it seems to almost be mumbling. So I think there's something wrong there. He may have moments in which of lucidity, but other moments where it's just it's not firing on all the cylinders.
All right, guys, a great conversation from. I didn't think we'd end up with circumcision, but here we are. But thank you very much for your time. As always, have a great weekend, and we'll see you both at your usual slots on Monday morning. All the best.
Bon voyage.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Ray. And on Monday, of course, Alistair Crook, Ray McGovern, Larry Johnson. In the afternoon, Scott Ritter, and on the Israeli deal, who else? Max Blumenthal. Judge Napolitano for Judging Freedom.